Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to discuss a fundamental concept in macroeconomics, macroeconomic equilibrium. We will break it down into three key parts: aggregated demand, aggregated supply, and equilibrium itself. By the end of the session, you should be able to explain how economics reach equilibrium and why this balance is so important. Let's start with a definition. Aggregated demand. Aggregated demand refers to the total or aggregated quantity of output that consumers, businesses, and foreigners, governments willingly spend in a given period. Aggregated demand depends upon the level of prices and incomes, as well as upon policy variables such as monetary and fiscal policy. In other words, aggregated demand measures total spending by all the different entities in the economy on cars, food, and other consumption goods bought by consumers, on plant and equipment bought by businesses, on tanks, weather forecasts, and computer bought by government, and on the net export bought by the other countries. The total purchases are affected by the prices at which the goods are offered by people's income, by financial conditions and expectation about the future, and by foreign economic condition, as well as by foreign policies in the monetary and fiscal arenas. Graphically, the eddy curve slopes downwards from left to right because the price level falls, the real value of wealth rises, exports become cheaper, and interest rates tends to drop, encouraging more spending. Next, move to aggregated supply. Aggregated supply refers to the amount of total national output that businesses willingly produce and sell in a given period. Aggregated demand depends upon the price level, upon business productive capacity, and upon the level of cost. In general, businesses would like to sell all they can produce at high prices. However, in certain circumstances, prices and spending level may be depressed. So businesses might sell less than their capacity or potential output. In other circumstances, such as wire booms, business might, for a long time, produce above their sustainable potential output. We see that aggregated supply is closely linked to the national capacity or potential output. In short run, the aggregated supply curve is upward sloping. This means as prices rise, firms are willingly to produce more because it becomes more profitable. The price level refers to the average of all prices in the economy. It is not about one product like rice or petrol, but rather the overall cost of goods and services. Economists measures this with indices like the consumer price index and GDP deflator. Changes in the price level tell us whether the economy is experiencing deflation, or price stability. Real GDP. Real GDP here stands for real gross domestic product. It measures the value of all final goods and services produced in the economy, but adjust for inflation. That's why it captures the economic's actual output, how much it really being produced, not just how much prices have changed. Real GDP is our main yardstick for economic growth and for comparing comparing living standards over time. In the aggregated demand and aggregated supply framework, we put price level here on the vertical axis and the real GDP on the horizontal axis. This let us see the relationship between overall demand and supply in the economy, and how changes in the demand or supply influences both output and the price level at the same time. Now let's put the aggregated demand and aggregated supply curve together here. Macroeconomic equilibrium is the point that where the total demand for goods and services in the economy equals the total supply of goods and services. In simple words, it is where aggregated demand meets aggregated supply. At this point, the economy is producing exactly what people, businesses, and government are willingly to buy. Equilibrium is most important because it determines the level of output, employment, and general price level in the economy. Macroeconomic equilibrium occurs where the aggregated demand curve intersects the aggregated supply curve. At this point, the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied. The equilibrium gives us two key pieces of information, that the equilibrium price level and the equilibrium level of output. The aggregated demand increases. The aggregated demand curve shift to the right, leading to higher output, higher prices. This is often linked with inflationary pressure. On the other hand, if aggregated demand decreases and aggregated curve shift to the left, resulting the lower output and possibly unemployment. Similarly, shift in aggregated supply, for example, due to change in wages, resource costs, and technology, also affect equilibrium output and prices. Why, uh, why does all this matters? Because equilibrium tells us whether the economy is underperforming, overheating, or operating at its potential. Policymakers use this framework to decide when to apply fiscal and monetary policies to stabilize the economy. To summarize, aggregated demand reflects the total demand for goods and services, and aggregated supply shows the total output firms are willingly to produce. Equilibrium occurs where two meets the data where the two meets, determining the economics output and price level. Understanding this balance is so important for analyzing inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. So thank you everyone. If you like the video, please subscribe, comment, and share.